Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to the adventurous Von Manor and another thrilling haul of adventure. Yes, it's another action-packed book haul today that Roger and I will be bringing you. Are you ready, Roger? Roger's totally ready. Roger's always ready. He's got guts, that Roger. They're in a jar, but he's got them. Okay, my friends. What treasures filtered into the manor this week? So every week, things just sort of float into the manor. I don't know how this happens, but books just kind of magically show up. And so I'm just going to show you these things that just kind of showed up here somehow. First, I did get some gifts, some gift books, some books that came in from Troy Tradup, author of The Forsaken Boy, a werewolf novel by Troy Tradup. I realize now that I'm making this video that I have no idea how to pronounce your last name, Troy. Sorry. I probably should have thought of that ahead of time. Oh well. But this novel looks awesome. This is a werewolf novel. I love werewolves, The Forsaken Boy. I've heard a little bit about this here and there, and I hear good things. So this is awesome. I'm going to be reading this soon because I love werewolves. So this was really cool. Troy also sent me a couple other things, and one of the things Troy sent me is so incredibly awesome. I'll be talking about that on Thursday because it's so cool. It's going to be part of my 100 favorite books video that I'm going to have up this week for my 100 favorite books project. My 100 favorite books project video. Yeah, what Troy sent me is definitely going to be in that one because it's amazing. But this is pretty darn cool too. The Forsaken Boy. So this is really cool. A novel, a werewolf novel. So that's awesome. But he also sent me this. Protect Me from the Things I Think I Want. Stories and Plays by Troy Tradup. But this has a lot of interesting things in it, one of which is a play based on the island of Dr. Moreau. And there's a lot of other kind of cool stuff in here too, it looks like. Short stories and other plays and stuff. So this is really cool. Thank you, Troy, for sending this to me. That's awesome. I will read that in the near future and report. Okay, so those were two cool things that showed up here. Now I got some comic-related stuff. I'll show the comic-related stuff, and then I'll show the vintagey stuff. So the first comic-related thing, or the first comic thing I got was this one. This is Superman in the 50s. Classic tales of the Man of Steel from one of comics' greatest decades. So this actually was printed before. This is an expanded edition of that book. There was a whole series of Superman in the 40s, Superman in the 50s, Superman in the 60s. So I have all of those except for Superman in the 80s. For some reason, I don't have that. But this is an expanded edition of Superman in the 50s, and there's just some great stuff. There is, of course, the premiere of Supergirl. So there's just some really cool stuff. This was a great decade for Superman, the 50s. Just some really cool stories in here. We've got a story from World's Finest in here. Poor Batman has an injury there, and Superman has to fight with Robin. I hope there's no traumatic jealousy going on. So yeah, Superman in the 50s. This is really cool, so I was happy to get that. I got a couple epic collections. They're always showing up. This is the Fantastic Four, Nobody Gets Out Alive. The Fantastic Four, Nobody Gets Out Alive. This is volume 23 of the Fantastic Four Epic Collections. This is 1993 to 1994, so 90s stuff. 90s stuff isn't the best as far as Fantastic Four is concerned. But, you know, still pretty cool. I love the Fantastic Four. And then I've got more 90s stuff in the next epic collection I've got. This is Captain America, Arena of Death. Arena of Death. This is the 19th volume of the Captain America Epic Collections, 1992 to 1993. So I got that. But the greatest comic thing I got this week, and probably the best comic thing I've gotten in a while, is Absolute Swamp Thing by Alan Moore, Volume 3. So this should be the final volume in the Absolute Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. So this is the concluding volume. I have all three, of course. But these are beautiful. These editions of Swamp Thing. Look how cool Swamp Thing is. Look at that. It's just beautifully done. These are beautiful, beautiful issues of Swamp Thing. Such a great time for this comic book. There's Batman making an appearance in Swamp Thing. It's just a beautiful, beautiful edition of Swamp Thing. So this is really cool. I love these Absolute editions, and I was really happy that they decided finally to put Alan Moore's Swamp Thing in here in the Absolute editions. So cool. So that was the comic stuff, which brings us to the vintagey stuff. The first thing I got was a John Saul novel. This is The God Project. When did this come out? I'm curious. You know, I buy these things and I don't even look. It has to be the mid-'80s, right? 82. It was first published in 82. But this version, or this edition, is 86. So good 80s stuff, John Saul's The God Project. I've never read a John Saul novel. And I realized that I used to see this guy's books everywhere, and you still kind of see him around. And I feel like I should read some John Saul. I have some other stuff that's come in. But for some reason, this cover was like, oh, I have to get this. I have to get this. Yeah. Something is happening to the children of Eastbury, Massachusetts. Yeah, it's, you know, some kind of horror-y, suspense-y type of thing. So yeah, I had to get that. The rest, I think, is all vintage science fiction, because that is my favorite thing, vintage science fiction. Now, this is a Heinlein novel that I've never read. This came out in 1980, I believe. This is The Number of the Beast. I'm pretty sure it was 1980, or am I wrong? Copyright 1980. Yeah, so came out in 1980. The Number of the Beast. I've never read this. It's actually pretty long for a Heinlein book. It's 500 pages. But I know nothing about it. I've never read it. Has anybody read this book? If you've read this book, let me know if this book is any good. But I had to get it anyway, because like I said, it's a Heinlein novel that I've never read. And it looks kind of cool. 3 months on the New York Times bestseller list. So yeah, there you go. The Number of the Beast by Robert A. Heinlein. The next is Isaac Asimov. This is Pebble in the Sky, which I probably have in a collection somewhere. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I know I didn't. I don't think that I had it individually as a paperback. So I had to get it. Pebble in the Sky by Isaac Asimov. This is a cool old vintagey copy of Pebble in the Sky. So that's kind of cool. Now this next book, again, I have it in a hardcover collection, I believe, but I can't remember if I had it individually. I probably do, but it's a Canticle for Leibowitz, which was a very famous novel. And so a Canticle for Leibowitz, had to get this. I had to get this. Well, I didn't have to get it. Like I said, I'm 98% sure I have it in some other form somewhere. But now I have the paperback. And I might have another paperback of it. You know, who knows? The vault of ancient science fiction is vast. So this could be in there already. But I couldn't remember for sure, so I got it. A Canticle for Leibowitz. Now this next one, I know I don't have anywhere in the vault of ancient science fiction until now. Gladiator at Law. Gladiator at Law by Frederick Foll and C.M. Kornbluth, the authors of The Space Merchants and so many other interesting things. A future world whose savage public contests make ancient Rome look feeble. This poor fella doesn't look like he's having a good day. Gladiator at Law. I mean, look how cool that is. Of course I got it. How could I not get this book? How could anyone not get this book? Gladiator at Law. So there's that. That's pretty cool. I'm happy to have that. This next book you will recognize right away. This is Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. Now, I've read the short story that this novel is based on, but I've never actually read the novel version of this story. So I'm going to do that. So as soon as I saw this, I grabbed it because I really want to read this, Flowers for Algernon. I know it's one of the best science fiction novels everywhere. I'm kind of surprised I haven't read it yet. But I will read it now. Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. And this is a sci-fi masterworks version, but it's a regular paperback size. It's not a trade paperback size one. So I don't know that I've seen these before. I've always seen the bigger ones. So this is kind of cool in itself. The next one, I don't know, but I got it. This is Agent of Chaos. Agent of Chaos by Norman Spinrad. Agent of Chaos. The great tyrant ruled the solar system with absolute terror. Only one man dared to fight back. You know, it's always just one man who dares to fight back. And this is one of those stories where one man dares to fight back. And it says Brotherhood of Assassins on the back. So, you know, there's lots of stuff going on in this book. I just, you know, of course I got it. Of course I did. Wouldn't anyone buy this book? Next, we have a Robert Sheckley. This is a Robert Sheckley book. This is Pilgrimage to Earth. Pilgrimage to Earth. Join the man of the future in Pilgrimage to Earth, the mother planet where love and war are the only staple commodities left, and the price can be too high to pay. So, Pilgrimage to Earth by Robert Sheckley. Kind of a cool cover there. So, Pilgrimage to Earth, Robert Sheckley. I don't exactly know what's going on to the cover of this next book. It's an Andre Norton book, and that's probably why I don't know. This is Andre Norton's The Zero Stone. So I don't know why this astronaut is floating to its spaceship with a cat. But there's a cat there in The Zero Stone. I have no idea what this book is about. Of course, you know, if you see an astronaut floating to a spaceship with a cat, you get it, right? I mean, that's what you do whenever you see that scenario play out. Spaceship, spaceman, cat. You know, you get the book, of course. What could be wrong with that combination? So, yeah. A mysterious stone, born of worlds long extinct, is the key to powers unimaginable to man. Powers that could enable its owners to control the universe. Wow, universe-controlling stuff going on in the Zero Stone. This next one, the cover just made me laugh. Slave Ship by Frederick Full. Manpower was in short supply, so the UN Navy began drafting animals. It's a slave ship full of animals. You know, I have no explanation, but I got Slave Ship by Frederick Full. Next is a novel by Lloyd Biggle Jr. This is The Fury Out of Time, a science fiction thriller. The Fury Out of Time. That sounds vaguely Lovecraftian. I don't think it is. But it sounds kind of that way. So, The Fury Out of Time. I mean, that just screams old-timey science fiction-y type of stuff. Although it's not that old-timey, is it? When did this come out? The 70s? Does it even tell me? It's not even going to tell me. How dare you not have a date? Oh, here it is. It's 1965. It's 1965 from Lloyd Biggle Jr. That's pretty cool. Next we have Mac Reynolds' Space Visitor. Mac Reynolds' Space Visitor. Voted the most popular science fiction author by the readers of Galaxy and If. Yeah, Mac Reynolds was a big deal. And this is Space Visitor. Kind of a cool cover there. Space Visitor. Next we've got a Larry Niven. This is Protector, the new science fiction novel by the author of Ringworld. Larry Niven's Protector. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool cover there. Not sure what's going on, but it's pretty cool. Protector by Larry Niven. Of course, I'm going to read this one. This next one, I have no excuse for getting because I already have it. But my copy's kind of beat up. And this is just such a cool cover. This is Arthur C. Clarke's Rendezvous with Rama. And now that I'm holding it up, do I have this edition as well? I might. I'll know as I go through my things. You might have seen this one already then. I guess, did I get this one? I don't know. But it's Rendezvous with Rama, and it's a really cool cover, so I got it again. So next is Hal Clement. This is Needle, which is not a novel I've heard of. This is Needle. There it is there. By Hal Clement. An intergalactic manhunt climaxes as the human body becomes a last refuge and the ultimate weapon. Needle. So that's pretty cool. You see this alien creature grabbing at this guy. So something bad is happening in Needle. I'm not sure what, but, you know, I'm going to find out eventually. Eventually I'll find out. Next, it is a very science fiction-y novel title, Inherit the Stars by James P. Hogan. Inherit the Stars. This poor guy doesn't look like he inherited much. It just came to a bad end, that one. So Inherit the Stars. A novel about man's place in the universe. I don't know. Is this man's place? I don't know. Have to read the book. Inherit the Stars by James P. Hogan. Just a couple of books left. Now this next one I have no explanation for, but it made me laugh, so I picked it up. This is Fur Magic. Fur Magic by Andre Norton. Fur Magic! It's Fur Magic by Andre Norton, which I'm assuming is some kind of kid's book. But it has all these cool illustrations of all these animals and animal-looking people. Look at this one. He's just like, you know, why are you bothering me? Leave me alone. Get out of my Fur Magic book. And it's full of... it's full of weird and... I mean, just look at this. Look at this party here. Fur Magic, man. Fur Magic by Andre Norton. So I've got Fur Magic. Now, my favorite thing, and I was thrilled to get this because I didn't have this already, is a book by it's not by Bran McMorn. It's a Bran McMorn book, but it's one that's written by Carl Edward Wagner. You've heard me talk about Carl Edward Wagner before. He is a tremendous horror and fantasy writer who died too soon in the early 90s. The creator of Kull, the mystic and immortal swordsman. But this is a book based on the Robert E. Howard character, Bran McMorn. Zebra, who is doing a bunch of Robert E. Howard stories, or a bunch of Robert E. Howard paperbacks at the time, commissioned some other writers to continue the adventures of these Robert E. Howard characters because they were selling so well. And this is Legion from the Shadows, a Bran McMorn novel by Carl Edward Wagner. Now, there's how you know. It says Carl Edward Wagner very small at the bottom there, but you see Robert E. Howard's name really large. Conan is prominent, and the cover design is very, very similar to their regular Robert E. Howard series. This looks just like a regular Robert E. Howard book from this series. This is Worms of the Earth right here. This is the original Bran McMorn stories are in this volume. And you can see the cover design is so close. But yeah, this one is written by Carl Edward Wagner, a fantastic writer. I've never read this book. I'm really looking forward to reading this book. So yeah, this is my favorite thing. Probably other than the Swamp Thing. The Swamp Thing's really my favorite. But this, as far as the books that I got, the paperback books that I bought of the vintage science fiction stuff, this is probably my favorite. Thanks again to Troy Tread Up for the Forsaken Boy. That is going to be a fun read, and I really appreciate you sending it. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm an idiot. What do you do? Okay, that was this week's Hall of Adventure. Catch Roger and I next week. You know, I'm not saying we're going to get any books this coming week. It's not like I'm just going to buy books every week. I'll catch you next week for Halls of Adventure. And tomorrow is a comic book video no one will watch. And then on Thursday, be sure to watch my 100 Favorite Books project, because it's going to be a doozy. It's going to be a doozy. It's a big one. Okay, guys, I will catch you next time.